let's jump right into it. I'm gonna get started on. So the point of this is to show how to do character animation retargeting using Mixamo animations, and you can use the retargeting tool that's built into Unreal for, I think, pretty much any kind of 3D character that has a skeletal mesh. So I know for sure Mixamo and Character Creator, and I've heard that Maya and various other 3D software. Can't remember all the what. Daz, I believe, is one of them. Yeah, I haven't tried them myself, so I wasn't going to give an example of that, but I'm definitely going to give an example of how to import Mixamo characters, how to retarget them to the animations, and then kind of make it as seamless as possible to be able to bring in multiple characters and use the same skeletal mesh to retarget all those characters without having to do it multiple times. So there's some part of it that's a little bit manual, but it's pretty quick. So I'll show you what I mean. So the first thing you want to do is open up a project. So either open up an existing project or create a new one. So I'll go ahead and create a film video project. Just do blank. Nothing special here. Let's see. Enable ray tracing if you want, so you don't have to do that if your graphics card can't handle it. It's not necessary for just trying this out. So I'm gonna just call this tutorial. It won't take too much longer here. There we go. Might as well hit dismiss and update on this. I don't know, actually don't have any idea what that does, but I always hit it. That's what everybody says to do, so. And then go ahead and dock this. If you haven't docked the content browser, just go ahead and do that. There should be a dock button, like for instance, if I do this. You kind of want to have it open for a while for this, just because it's easier to import or create all the folders and everything. So then go ahead and create a characters folder. Get us off on the right foot here. All right, so that's a good starting point. Just do that, and then we're going to go to Mixamo. Main thing is you just want to have a project open because you're going to be creating a bunch of folders and importing stuff in there. And we're going to create some more folders in a moment here. So if you don't see a T-pose character when you first open this, the one we're going to actually use is the Mannequin. So go to characters and then click on Mannequin and click the box or click the button, use this character. And if you don't see the T-pose for some reason, just hit the refresh button on the page. You might have a previous animation if you've been here before. You might have a previous character that was animated. But if you refresh the page when you're on the character page and you click the Mannequin, it will go back into a T-pose. At least it should. It has every time for me. So next thing you want to do, let's see, go ahead and download that. And you should see these options. If you don't for some reason, you're not on the character page, just make sure to go back to the character link in the upper left here and then refresh the page once you've selected Mannequin, because you should see these options and not the with or without skin options. We want to download the T-pose. All right, just create create a folder somewhere on your desktop or somewhere actually that you can find it easily, that if you have like an asset storage area or an archive or something, you might want to put it there, because this is something you can reuse over and over again. It's really kind of nice in that way. You only have to do some of these steps once. So then I usually don't just leave it this generic name, so I'll put on here like let's see, I'll do retarget. You can put whatever you want, but SK is kind of the standard naming for skeletal mesh. So retarget source SK, and then I keep the original name of the file, just so that you know which one you've downloaded, in case you download some other character sometime. So in my case, I'm just going to save it to a folder on the desktop. And let's see. All right, and then we're going to save it to, I'll just call this one actually the same thing. So retarget source SK. And actually, let me go up one. I forgot a step. Just trying to stay organized here, so it's easier to find stuff. So this is going to be a Mixamo character. And I'm starting over, so just instead of I should have created the character folder first. So just create a character folder, characters folder, Mixamo folder, subfolder, and then create a folder inside there called retarget source SK. Just a good place to put it. With that kind of a naming would be good. Not sure how I got out of order on that, so I apologize for that. But all right, so okay, I had my lists scrolled all the way down. So next thing is to go back into Unreal. So let me actually check something real quick. So we've done that. Back to Unreal. We're going to import that T-pose character in. So I've already created a characters folder in here. You're going to kind of mimic the same folder structure here as you do on your computer. And so just double click on this, right click, go to new folder, and just do Mixamo. I'll do another folder called the same thing as on your computer. So retarget source SK. It doesn't have to be called this. It's just something that makes it easy for me to identify what it is I'm using it for. Go into here. All right, and then done that. Import the FBX in. So easiest way for a single character is just right click in the folder that you want to put it in and go to import at the very top. And we'll go to where we downloaded that FBX. Go into here, here, here. All right. And in this case, we don't need to select any kind of skeleton because it comes with its own. And the standard settings that you really want to do are in almost every case. And it seems to work in every case for me. So you want to check the box for import animations, animated time, go to advanced. And if you don't see those other settings, just make sure advanced is collapsed. Make sure these are checked and that you've got that drop down and before you expand it out. Because you might not see it. You might have to scroll down to be able to see that. So we've got use T0 as ref pose and import morph targets. And by the way, use T0 as ref pose is basically the T pose, and then import morph targets. It's really probably not necessary because I think that's mostly for facial expressions or that kind of thing. But it's a good habit to get in to just go ahead and check that box. There might be reasons why you wouldn't want to do that, but I can't think of any, so you might as well enable that. So those are the 4 settings you need to change in here. So go ahead and hit import all. And you can just clear out this message and just close this box. All right, so now we've got our base skeleton that we're going to be using for, so this skeleton is going to be used for retargeting any character that you bring in here. So when we start bringing the animations in, we're going to use this, and I'll show you what I mean, and then we're going to keep using the same skeleton to retarget all of our animations to our custom characters or whichever character you want. So let's go ahead and download the Mixamo animations. So we're going to go check out the animations and see what we got available. And I've got the preview off because I don't want it to bog down my internet. So these are all just look like they're still images, but you'll see all these animated and you can pick out which one you want. If you click on one of them, like let's do walk. It's going to be a common one you're going to grab. Let's do this walking one. So you'll see that preview. Go ahead and hit the download button. In this case, we already have the skeleton, so you just want to do, the only thing you want to change in here is to without skin, because all we need is the animation itself. We already have the skeletal mesh. So without skin's good. Hit download. And whatever folder it is that you're going to be putting this into, I would just put it somewhere safe that you're going to remember where it is, and that you can keep reusing it, because these animations can be reused as well. So so Mixamo characters, so that's the skeleton. Let's just create a folder called animations. And we'll do a subfolder called walk. Nice to keep your animations organized by folder, because you can just drag the entire folder in, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So we'll do a couple walking ones, and that way you can see what I mean. Got walk, let's do like a, sure, why not, that one. Limping walk or something, okay. Just double check that you have these settings. I don't know if upping it to 60 frames a second might be good. I've never tried that, but 30 seems to be fine. So just leave it default. All right, let's do like a run. Do a couple runs. Fast run, sure. All right. Same thing, create a subfolder in your animations folder, call it run, save it in there. Let's do this one. All right, save it in the same place. And then let's do a pack. So if you clear out your search here and just look for a pack, and this may be the way you want to go, is just download a pack, like a locomotion pack or something. Look for these ones that say have numbers on them. There's packs of like 50 different animations that are related to this topic. It's nicer than having to download in one by one in some cases, but I'm just going to do a smaller one, like 16, so it's not so huge. It won't take too long to import. All right. You don't have to wait for it to load the preview, because it's only previewing the first animation, but just hit the download button. You should see these options. And we already have a T-pose, so we don't really need to download that, but if you're ever downloading a pack and you need a T-pose, you can just have that selected, but otherwise just hit no character. And that's kind of the equivalent of no skin, essentially, because we don't need the character, so, and everything else is fine. Hit download. And we'll do another folder called packs. The packs come with their own subfolders, so you don't really have to like separate those out. Go in here and just save the zip for now. I usually just click on it here, just open it up, and then on your downloads, or go to your downloads folder and open it. And then you want to extract all and just extract it. You don't necessarily need to open it here. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and have it open because I want to show you something else that we should do. Which is to either delete or move that zip. So go ahead and extract it. Okay, so it's open the folder. Let's go back to packs. Don't really want that zip file in there because I'm going to be dragging and dropping the folders into Unreal. It's just easier to do that when you have multiple animations that you're bringing in, rather than trying to import them one by one. So if that's the case, you don't really want the zip in there. I don't think it'll cause a problem, but I don't need it because I can always download it again, get rid of that zip. All the animations are inside here and are unzipped. So now we've got 2 animations in each of these folders, and then the pack full of animations, and then the subfolders that are there. So that's great. Okay, so did that. Let's go to extracted that. Go back to Unreal. That's the next step. All right. So it's going to be similar folder structure. In here, I just do like an animations folder. And for those that don't know, I'm not going to do this because I want to be able to demonstrate that you can right click, but if you hold down Control and Shift and hit N, it'll create a new folder. That's the easiest way, Control Shift N. But otherwise you can just right click and do new folder. All right, so let's call this one Mixamo. Mixamo animation. And we'll call this one Retarget Source. Okay. So then we're going to go back to the PC folders, computer folders, go back to where your animations are, and this is why you don't really want a zip file in here. If all you've got in these is FBX files that were the animations, you can it'll keep the same folder structure if you just drag around it or do Control A to select all. And just want to make sure you have this window open in front of the folder you're going to be dragging it into in the project. And go ahead and drag it here, drag it in, and just click to it. And it's going to pop up, open the FBX import options automatically. And then from here, since we're going to be targeting it temporarily to the, it's not temporarily, but it's going to be targeted to the retarget source SK T-pose mannequin that we imported earlier. And that's going to be, like I said, the source of the animation. So the only thing you need to do is select that skeleton that is compatible with those animations. And then animated time is the only thing that you would want to change if it's something else, but it should already be set that way. You're not going to see T0 as ref pose or anything in here because this is just the animations. So in this case, we're importing multiple animations, and I usually always hit import all for no matter if it's one thing I'm importing or many things. It's just a good habit to get into. I don't think there's a reason why you need to hit the button for import only. So this might take a second. It shouldn't be too long. Okay. So it'll show you all the animations basically that you imported, but if you go back to retarget source, you can see that it created the subfolders just like you when you dragged them in, which is pretty nice. So you don't have to manually create all those. All right, so next thing is to did that already. Let's go ahead and get a Mixamo character. So we'll start off with Mixamo, and I'll demonstrate how you do it with that. So I'll go ahead and hit characters, and I'm just going to use the Mixamo kind of flagship character. So I just put Mix in there and pulls up Michelle. Use this character, and again, you kind of want her in the T pose. Doesn't matter that much, but if you just hit refresh, it should go back to the T pose. Wouldn't matter if you did download her without in like an animated version of her. That would be fine, but might as well have the characters in T pose. It's just a good standard practice. And then so once you've got the character you want, just hit download and do the T pose. Make sure that's what you see. All right, let's go back to our folders here. So characters, Mixamo, and we'll just create a folder for Michelle. And might as well put her name in the front of this too, because otherwise it'd be really hard to tell who the heck this is. just by the little thumbnail that they give you. So having the name of the character in there is good. Let's see. Go ahead and hit save here. Did I? Oh, I didn't. Sorry, I didn't put her in the folder, did I? I was supposed to move into this Michelle folder that I created, but anyway, it's okay. Just move it in there if you do the same thing accidentally. But it's not super critical right here. But all right. So next thing is to go ahead and close Mixamo. I'm just going to close it because you don't have to close Mixamo, but I'm going to because it sucks up system memory to have Chrome open. So, all right. Go back to Unreal. And since it's just one character, I'm just going to go to character folder and create my Michelle folder. We'll just bring her in here by right-clicking. So go into the Michelle folder, right-click in here, go import. Go to your folder where you downloaded the character. Open, and then don't need to actually select a skeleton yet because we're going to be retargeting her. So. And then you do want to have the same options selected in here though, since we're actually bringing her skin in here and stuff. So you might have this expanded out. If that's the case, that's fine. Just go ahead and check the boxes you need to check if you need to. They should already be selected though, which is use T0 as ref pose and import morph targets. Then go ahead and collapse this advanced and just make sure that this is checked. Import animations and animation length should be animated time and hit import all. And you can just clear out this. All right, we're ready to target the animations to her now. So, so we'll go to one of the animations. Doesn't matter which one. There we go. Just right-click on. Just go to your animation. Just find any of them. Right-click on one of them. And click on Retarget Animations. And then select your character that you brought in here. So, Michelle. She's right there. That's just from in that drop down. And don't need to change anything here, but just to confirm, if you want to make sure it's working, just double click on one of these animations and it'll show you that it's retargeted successfully. It looks good. Now, I don't remember where I saw this, but if you don't do it this way, I think it's if you select the wrong kind of incompatible skeleton, you'll see her hands or feet kind of sticking off in different directions and doing weird things because the bones are not lined up. So this process seems pretty foolproof the way that I'm instructing you on how to do it. So that's why I highly recommend you do this this process instead of manually trying to adjust the bones yourself. Using their retargeting system is great. So you can select any of these animations if as long as one's highlighted, just do Control A. There's no way to right click and do select all. So it's just Control A for select all. Hit the export animations button. And then in here, go ahead and create a folder for your retargeted character. So go into your animations, go into Mixamo. We'll create a new subfolder under Mixamo. Let's call it retargeted. And then in retargeted, you could put in the character's name. So we've now retargeted Michelle, so might as well put her in there. So any of your characters that you've already retargeted, you can have subfolders for them in here, and then you can access those if you need to. But you won't really necessarily need to go in here, but it's a good way to keep organized. Okay, and then to go ahead and hit the export. Actually, there was one other thing I was going to say about this. Oh yeah, if you hit export here, so pretty much you always want to leave this default, but if you have a project that you're working on and you've got a lot of animations that you've already brought in and you've going through this process that I'm talking about, and you're afraid you're going to have duplications because you've already downloaded a bunch of Mixamo ones and you've already retargeted them, you're not sure if you're going to have duplicates. As long as you're comfortable with it, you can check this box for overwrite existing files, but be very careful with that because you could end up overwriting ones that have the same name but are actually different animations. So pretty much always just want to leave this. If you have duplicates, it's not such a big deal as long as you don't have a million animations, but good idea to just leave this default in most cases. But I just wanted to give that as a pointer because it's helped me out when I've had like 800 animations that I was bringing in, so I could test some stuff, So, but mostly you want to leave that default. So hit export. It's going to export all those animations, and there she is exported. She's done and good. Hit the save. It auto saves immediately, but you should also go in here, hit that button, hit save selected, save everything. Because if it crashes, it's kind of annoying to have to start over. So you could just drag one of these in if you want to test it out in the viewport. You can also just double click on it actually and see all of them and see if they're working. They look pretty good. Yeah, a lot of the retargeting tools that I've seen, the old ones, you have to realign the bones and the hands look weird. So, all right. So anyway, and then if I go into game mode here, you can see how nice this looks too. So let me just, I think I hit pause. There we go. Jeez. Okay, sorry about that. I double clicked it instead of single clicking it. Okay. So, it's looping, so it's not in a sequence or anything, so I haven't extended that out, but all right, that's how to do a Mixamo character, and you can do any Mixamo character with that same. So if you were to go down and go ahead and download another Mixamo character and create another folder under the characters folder, you could do the same process. Just go to your animation and right click on it, go retarget animations, and then that other character that you brought in here, you just find it in this list of characters that you want to target it to. So like this, for instance, I'm not going to retarget the mannequin to the mannequin, but you could and create a whole new retargeted character. But so that's the way to do Mixamo characters. And then let's see, I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Let's see, export. Yeah, I got that. Did the demo. The only thing I would want to mention though is, and I haven't done this myself, but if you go to your retargeted animations for Michelle, which I'm not seeing it, there it is. You can actually click on one of these and do Control A, and then right click and go to Asset Actions, Bulk Export, and then you can export these. I'm not going to show you the whole process because that's not what this tutorial is about. I just wanted you to know that you don't have to retarget. If you're going to use the same character in another project and you want to use the same animations, you can export these out as FBX files and then just import the FBX files in later and use them again. And maybe I'll do a tutorial on that at some point in the future, but I just wanted you to know that's an option to do that. So there are tutorials out there on how to import FBX animations in that are for custom characters and things, but maybe I'll make one someday. If somebody requests it, let me know, or somebody's interested in that, I can do it. And then the next thing I wanted to show is how to do a custom character. So in my case, I'm going to go ahead and hit save again just to make sure, because I'm going to close this out. I don't want to tax my computer too much. Close this stuff. The next thing I was going to show is how to do character creator characters. It's just an example. I mean, I don't know if people out there are using character creator a lot. I think there's quite a few people that do. The benefits of character creator is that, at least for ease of use, I found that you can actually create facial expressions and things like that in here, and then so you could bring the animation in here, add the facial expressions, export it out, and then use it in your project. So then the character actually has facial expressions in addition to the movement. So they're not just like staring blankly and not blinking. So that's, and I could also do a tutorial someday on that. It's something that I haven't actually messed with a lot myself yet. So let me go ahead and open a character. So let's just open up Simone's character. But I plan to, and there may be other options out there, but facial expressions are kind of nice. Otherwise, the characters really look very not good. Very stiff and two-dimensional. Okay, so we've got a character open here. You know, you could have created one, or maybe you just pick one of these default ones that you want to use. I usually try to put them in the T-pose before I export them. So just go to here, this motion area, go to the drop down, go to pose, click on T-pose. And once they're in the T-pose, you can just export them out. So go to File, Export, FBX, Clothed Character. And then we're going to do Unreal for the export option at the top. And then FBX options is just leave it default, mesh and motion, because the T-pose is technically a motion, believe it or not. At least when you export it here. And then there's only a couple more options you need to do to change here. Check the box for max texture size and change it to 4096. You want to do the maximum on that. And then for current pose, or for you want to do current pose because you want the T-pose to be the one that's being used initially. And then the only thing about the T-pose that's an issue is you want to uncheck this box for first frame and bind pose, because when you go to put this in the sequencer in Unreal, if you have this checked, every time her animation ends, she'll go back to a T-pose, and you have to cut off the T-pose part. It's not good for blending animations at all. It's very bad. So you want to uncheck that box. I can't think of a reason why you'd want to have that checked, in fact. So I don't know why that's default. And then delete hidden faces should be automatically selected. So hey, Reallusion, why don't you just automatically have that selected, because that's what they recommend you check the box for. But who am I to say? Those are the things you want to change it to. So and I'm happy to share those settings with you guys if you are not able to see it in the video. All right, and go ahead and hit the export button, and it's just warning you that you can't change it once you've exported it, essentially. And click OK, or the FBX file won't be editable, at least not in here, in the same way that you edited the character originally. So for this, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to a folder that makes sense to me. For me, it's this is the naming convention I use. The folder structure is I just create a Reallusion folder in my character folder, and then a subfolder for the character, so Simone, and then I'll just name it Simone. Keep it simple. That's it on that. All right, and then the next thing is we have to enable the auto setup, which is really easy, but you do need to do it. The auto setup, really the only thing it does at this point is, it does do a bunch of stuff, but nothing that you have to worry about. The main thing is that if you don't do this, when you import your character, the character's hair will be white, and a lot of textures won't look very good. Their skin will look bad. So I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute here. Okay, so the way to install that is just go up here to Plugins and go to Character Creator and iClone Auto Setup, and then get the tool for Unreal. Click on that. It'll take you to the website. Just click the free download button, and then click the download button, and just put this somewhere like downloads is fine. I already have it, but I'll go ahead and overwrite it just so you can see the whole process. And then just click on your downloads, go to your downloads folder, open, launch the installer. Just hit yes on that message. Go ahead and hit next, accept the terms. And that's a good thing to keep in mind, is that's where the plugins are. Well, actually, I'll give you the full path. You'll see the full. Something to note is the full path to the folders, because you have to. I'll show you what I mean in a second. I'm trying to explain something before I'm even there yet, but there's some folders that you have to copy from one place to another. Okay, so it takes you there automatically anyway, but this is the path to the auto setup folders that you need to copy into the project. And most likely you're going to be using 5.4, so in that case you go into here. So this is the full path that you would use. So it's program files, Reallusion, shared plugins, auto setup, Unreal, auto setup 1.3. It's buried, but just keep in mind it's in your programs folder, in the Reallusion folder. Just keep digging in there and you'll see where they are. You don't need to install this every single time, so you only need to do it the one time, and then these folders are here. The only reason you'd need to reinstall it is if a new version comes out, and then you would want to have 5.5 or whatever to be able to grab these, but because it's version specific. So so you're going to click these two folders, the content and the plugins folder inside this, and just copy it, and then go to your project. In my case, I just have it on a quick launch here, but wherever your project is, if it's in your documents folder, wherever your project file is stored, gonna go there. So then it's tutorial for me, and then just in here, just right in the main root folder of the project, just right click, paste. And Windows 11 just automatically merges folders together. So if you have Windows 10, you might have to confirm, like if it'll say, do you want to merge? What do you want to do? Overwrite? You just want to merge them. You don't want to overwrite anything. If you can avoid that, that would be good. So make sure you have a backup before you do this stuff, because if you do overwrite that, I don't know how you get that back. But this has all the shader folders and stuff in it that's needed for the character to look correct when it's imported in. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that in just a second here. Okay, so one of the reasons I had you save and close Unreal, and why I did that is just because you pretty much have to do that anyway when you copy these folders in. So now we can just go ahead and launch the project again. If you didn't close Unreal before, go ahead and save and close after you've copied those files over. I just find that to be better because I've done it. I've had it open and it seemed to work okay, but I've also had it crash. So probably a good idea to just reopen the project. Just a tip. All right, then go ahead and open it up. All right, let's see. Okay. For some reason this window always pops open. You can close it. You can hit dismiss on this stuff, update. I don't know that it does anything. It's like grinding pepper on a salad. I don't know. I mean, I guess if we put enough on there, it's good, but bad analogy. Okay, well, anyway, so let's see. Create a folder called characters. We already have a characters folder, so I just create one called Reallusion, just like on the computer, if I can spell it. Reallusion. It's not even a real word anyway. Double click on that, and I just create a CC folder because Reallusion has a few different products. If you use iClone, you might want to bring in an iClone character, although they pretty much be the same thing anyway. But it's just kind of another way to keep organized, and it actually is really necessary. It's not just to be anal about it. It's really hard to find some of this stuff once you start having thousands of assets in here. So, all right, so then go ahead and go in here into the folder you created and right click. It's a single character, so it's easy to just go import. And we already exported Simone to that folder earlier, the Reallusion folder. I put it on my desktop, but wherever you happen to put that. And it's just the FBX file that you want. You don't care about, doesn't care about the other files. I think it automatically selects what it needs to out of those, like the textures and stuff. And that's part of the auto setup, is it detects those textures. So go ahead and hit open on that. And this is what I'm talking about. If you don't do the auto setup, you don't copy those folders to where they need to be in the project, you won't see this pop up. It'll just look like you imported a Mixamo character, and then once it's done, you drop Simone in the scene and she's got white hair and looks terrible. So, but this is part of the auto setup, and I always select HQ shader. That's what Reallusion suggests you do. I don't know what happens if you select one of these lower ones. Maybe it doesn't look as good, but high quality shader, go ahead and click OK. This does take a minute. It's not as fast as a Mixamo character. Oh, right. And I still need to do this stuff. So same settings. In fact, it's even more important that you have import animations, animated time selected. And I think animated time is required for character creator character. And use T0 as ref pose definitely is also required for that. Import morph targets. If you don't check that, not the end of the world, but if you have facial expressions from character creator, they won't come in, I don't think. At least that's what my theory anyway. So it's, again, those 4 settings. Just go ahead and import all. And this is the last character that I'll import in here. Let's see, what was I going to say about that? So one of the things I was going to mention earlier, and I have a minute here, so is that there is an easier way to bring in Mixamo characters and animations into Unreal. If you're only using one single character, and you know you're only going to use that one single character, you can just bring the character in T-pose and target the animations to that, and that's fine. But it's the reason I didn't do that is because in almost every project I'm going to have multiple characters, and I don't want to have to. I want to be able to have like one base skeleton or a mannequin that I can use as the retargeting source for every character that I bring in. It just makes it easier. And it's kind of generic looking, so you're not going to get like one character mixed up with another. You know, it's like, oh, I was using Michelle to retarget all my animations. Well, so this is a better way to go for consistency's sake. But if you're gonna bring in just a single character, you know you're only going to use that single character, and you just want to bring in Mixamo animations for that Mixamo character, you could just follow the first part of what I did, and instead of using the mannequin, just use your Mixamo character, whatever that character is. So, and you don't need to retarget anything at that point because you're just bringing it in and using the skeleton of the character. Anyway, I plan to do a tutorial on that. It'd be like maybe a short sometime in the future potentially, but only if people really want that. I don't know if that's something that people even need. There's a lot of tutorials out there like that, so maybe I can make a real short one though. All right, same thing with her. So we want to target those animations to her. So let's go to our animations, go back to our retarget source. It doesn't matter which one you click on, they're all tied to the same skeleton. So just right click on it, go to retarget animations. And we're going to choose Simone this time. Okay, just to make sure it's working. Yep, she's running, doing stuff. All right, and just Control A again, select all, export animations. Go back to here, animations, Mixamo, retargeted. Let's create a Simone folder. Export and export. She's done. All right, let's drag her in here just to see what she's doing. hard to move around in here. She's got a broken foot, so looks good. Mixamo animations are not the highest quality in the world, at least some of them. Like, look at her hands. And I don't think that's actually anything to do with what I did here with the retargeting. It's just that they just don't have as much, they're not as dynamic of animations in a lot of cases. In some cases. I've seen some really good ones on there too, but that's basically it. If anybody has any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer those. Or if anybody has a request for the next tutorial that I'm going to do. One of the tutorials I had in mind was to do animation blending. that's going to be on hold for at least over the weekend, just because I just found out about a new plugin that got put out that might be a game changer. I'm not sure yet. If it is, then it'll kind of make what I had in mind for my tutorial a moot point. But I have a feeling that it's only good for certain use cases. But if otherwise, I will go ahead and do one on animation blending. That it's like I've said before, it's an art, not a science. It's kind of difficult to do a tutorial that is reproducible for everyone in every case, because you have to kind of, but I can at least give some pointers on some best practices. So, and what I would do with certain animations. All right, well, thanks for coming, everybody, and I will try to stream again on Sunday if I can. I'm not sure. It'll probably be a Building the Pixelverse episode, and possibly before that. I just trying to squeeze as much as I can in every single week. So I will definitely post something on my channel. So make sure to like and subscribe so you get those notifications about upcoming episodes. And thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.